Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Thursday. It's Daryl here, and you know it, man. It's bright and freaking early. It's 3 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, some mornings I start going through different stories, different news feeds looking for a story, and I'll come across one, and it'll catch my attention. For some reason, something about it will really stick in my mind. And I'll keep looking because I'm not sure if that'd be enough to do a video here about. So I'll keep going looking through other news stories, and I'll come across maybe one or two other news stories, and I'll put them in my mind. The stories stick out, and I start to form like a cohesive picture of putting the two or three articles together and getting an idea, an overall idea. And that's what I got this morning. And like I said, and a lot of times this doesn't even have anything to do with the video. Like I said, I just start looking through the news feeds and I'll see one article and then I'll see another article. And they kind of, to me at least, and I'm sure to other people, they start to relate to each other. And I get this overall idea. I'll give you guys the straight up timeline. The first article I came across was about Arnold Schwarzenegger. This is wild. I've always liked Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he's a Republican. But I started to get this thought of he would be the guy right now that we need to run as an independent for president to save the country from Donald Trump. That's the overall thought of this video. And here's the thinking. So he was held in Munich, Germany. He traveled to Munich, Germany. And the purpose of this was to go, he's on his way to Austria to auction a watch for climate initiative group, climate change. And so he's got this very expensive watch, and he lands in Munich, Germany. And he says he was the victim, this is his own words, of an incompetent shakedown. And that's what it sounds like. Because these border guards went through this, or airport officials held him. They came across this watch. And since this watch was going to stay in the country, at least for a while. See, this is where I start to get a little confused. Because he landed in Munich, Germany. But apparently this auction is in Austria. That's the way I understand this. So the German officials held him and made him pay over $10,000 tax on this watch, because this watch was something of value coming into the country. I guess that's the best way to explain it. And this is what the border guards or the airport officials did. They took him to an ATM. So I was thinking, how much is this watch worth? It's got to be worth about what? If it's a 7 or 8% tax, the watch would be about what, $80,000, $90,000. So it's got to be, I don't know. I've never had more than a $50 watch, so I don't know. The only thing I can think of is a Timex or a Rolex. Those are the only two watches I know. Okay, so they hold him, right, and then they take him to an ATM to withdraw seriously, or a money machine, a credit card machine. And it doesn't work, obviously, because as far as I know, you can only pull out $200. So then these airport officials, the border guards, take him to a bank to withdraw over $10,610, I think it was, in import tax for this watch that he's going to then auction off. And the bank's closed. So they take him back to the airport, and one of the border guards or airport officials actually goes and gets another money machine that will actually work and brings it to the airport. And it seems like these guys are going to an awful far. I'm really wondering, who's keeping this money. It starts to look like corruption to me. When, I don't know if they're just trying to help Arnold Schwarzenegger pay this import tax, or if they're just looking to get a kickback, because it starts to really look like a kickback. Okay, so I start thinking about Arnold Schwarzenegger and what the condition the country is in now. I'm going to vote for Joe Biden. If my only choice is Joe, if my choice was Bugs Bunny or Donald Trump, I'd vote for Bugs Bunny. Let's see, a real person. If I don't know, Pauly Shore. If my choice was Pauly Shore or Donald Trump, I would vote for Pauly Shore. That's how much I believe Donald Trump, and I'm saying this in all sincerity, is the Antichrist. I know a lot of people say that every time there's a presidential election. Oh my God, Barack Obama's the Antichrist. No, I'm really starting. I'm in all sincerity, I'm starting to believe that Donald Trump might really be the Antichrist because of what I'm seeing here. This guy isn't going away. You know, like people said that about Barack Obama, and now Barack Obama and his wife Michelle are just, you know, they're just regular citizens now, you know, and they're going to fade into the background, except for those people that believe that Michelle Obama is somehow running the government or one of those conspiracy theories. But I don't buy that. Okay, so I come across this next story about Nick Fuentes. It's been a while since I did a Nick Fuentes. I gotta tell you guys this. I don't know. I hope I could say this on this monetized channel, but I'm gonna say it in 2 words. I thought about this. Nick Fuentes does not strike me as a very manly person. He strikes me as a follower. He strikes me as somebody that's actually scared of the people that he hangs out with. And that's the reason he kisses butt so much. And I really get that feeling. And he's just doing this for money, but I get the feeling, this is my gut feeling, that he's actually scared of the people around him that he's milking for, you know, with these comments. And he strikes me as somebody that's a cis. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to say the whole word. All right, so, you know, because I don't want to, you know, come across as homophobic or anything. Okay, so there's going to be a link to the Arnold Schwarzenegger story down below in the watch. Then I come across a story about Nick Fuentes. All right, and Nick Fuentes says a lot of crazy things, and I really start to, I can never figure out if Nick Fuentes is saying this stuff just because, like I said, he doesn't fit. The stuff he's saying comes across as phony. And I watch his hands, I watch his body gesture, I watch it, look at his build. And he just doesn't appear masculine. He doesn't appear like an alpha. He doesn't appear like a leader. He doesn't appear like, he doesn't strike me as anybody who has any intestinal fortitude, any guts to actually do what he's saying. And in this video is crazy. This video's been, he did it on Rumble, and it's been making the rounds. He just did this January 15th. And he said he's not a Republican. You know, he doesn't like McCarthy. He doesn't like any of the Republicans. He is a Donald Trump cultist. He says this full right out. I am a Donald Trump cultist. I serve at the leisure of my supreme leader, Donald Trump. He actually says this. He says he is part of the Praetorian Guard. He doesn't believe in the Pentagon. He doesn't believe in the police. He doesn't believe in the United States military. He will only listen to Donald J. Trump. And then he goes on. He says if Donald J. Trump told him to go out and take care of extrajudicial go off people, he would do it. This is the part that I just can't see Nick Fuentes doing this. I see Nick Fuentes more scared than anything of actual violence. And something about him is phony. I don't know if it's all phony, if he's just doing this because he's scared or what. But so I start looking at this. The link will be right down below to this. It's from Twitter, and where you actually I'm trying to figure out if he's just doing this for shock value, just to own the libs and all that stuff. But I don't think so, because there's so many people that think exactly. I just did a video about not going to the second one, about not going to how I made up my mind about not going to my class reunion. And I talked about another guy back in 2020 that said the same thing. The guy in the video I did a couple days ago said he would go out and within an hour he would take out all the Democrats, all the liberals. They would cease to exist if Donald Trump just gave the word. So here's another one, and there's more than one of these people, and I start thinking about this and the values that these guys represent. Like Nick Fuentes, there's a picture of him on his channel. I actually watched his Rumble channel, and he's holding up a cross, and then he shows Donald Trump holding up the Bible. And he talks about values, and I think about how misguided these people are. He's talking about all these things that are anti-patriotic, anti-democracy, anti-American, serving this one supreme leader, skipping over there's the 3 forms of government: the legislative, the judicial, and the executive, and so he wants to do, everything he's talking about is anti-American. It's more like North Korea or Cuba is what he's talking about. Serving this one supreme leader, whatever this guy says he will do. This guy is God. That's North Korea. That's China. And yet they paint themselves as America first, as the patriots. And I'm thinking, how screw it. They actually call themselves cultists. And I start looking at Donald Trump, And like I said, in this coming election, you know, mark my words, I have the worst. I feel like this is the end. I truly, truly do. I'm not just saying that for this video. I really believe in November, now that Donald, you know, it's gotten to the point now that this can't turn around. There's going to be catastrophe, catastrophic consequences in November. There is. Whether whoever wins, if Biden wins, if Trump wins, there's going to be, it's the apocalypse. I'm not just saying that. I really believe that. And I'm starting to think, look at the way Nick Fuentes talks. You know, you talk about the Antichrist like in the Bible, you know, and it's like the people believe, you know, worship him, supposedly. If you ever read, you know, like in Revelations and all that, you know, the Antichrist comes back and it's the end of the world. And Donald Trump is, I'm not kidding around, you know, and I know people have said that before, but this looks like the real freaking deal, you know. And I start looking at Joe Biden, you know, and it's just, he's got to the point. I like the guy. I'm going to vote for the guy. But I really don't think he can win at this point. He's just not the guy for this job. And I go back to Arnold Schwarzenegger, being a Republican, being a so-called tough guy. And I think he's one of the very few men in America that could pull away, that could stop this catastrophic consequence in November. Because if it is just Joe Biden and Donald Trump, it's going to be a catastrophe. Because whether Biden wins or loses, Donald Trump is going to walk all over him and say that he won. And the majority of people are going to believe him. And there's going to be mayhem in this country for coming years. One of the few people that could possibly stop it at this point would be if Arnold Schwarzenegger ran for president. Now, I know he can't because he's not a U.S. He wasn't born in the United States, and that's one of the on the checklist for becoming president. You got to be 35. You got to be born a U.S. citizen, born in the United States. You know, so but that could change. If I'm not mistaken, if things moved really fast, I think that could be an amendment if the Republicans didn't get in the way. But that's the one thing, because Arnold Schwarzenegger is a Republican. And then he's going to bring this watch, and I started to think about that for the climate change initiative. So you know, there's a lot of stuff, you know, and he doesn't like Donald Trump. He can't stand Donald Trump, and he's for the climate. So there's stuff right there that I'm on his side, you know. So I would vote in a second for Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's one of the few people that could stop the Antichrist, Donald J. Trump, from not just becoming president, but destroying, you know, total mayhem and catastrophe in the United States. And I'm not just saying that. I truly believe there's like a 99.9% chance every day that goes by we're getting closer and closer, unless something big happens like Arnold Schwarzenegger running for president. That's my opinion. What do you think? Let me know. It's crazy, but let me know. I'll be back later with another video. You guys have a good Thursday.